Morning crew. I hope we're all well. Gonna have a talk today, a video that I've been thinking about doing for quite a while. I've talked to a few people about what I'm gonna say and what it entails. And it's a phrase that we bound around a hell of a lot. Leave no trace. And what I want to talk about is, what does leave no trace actually mean? What does it mean to each of us? And what does it mean in general? So we'll get a bit further up Stanton Moor and we'll have a slightly more in-depth discussion about it. I thought Stanton Moor would be the perfect place to discuss my theory on leave no trace. But let's get past. Let's get off at open moorland where it's a bit sheltered, because this wind might be bothering us a little bit. So I'll talk to you soon. Can I do it now, I wonder? I decided not to have a go at climbing the Corkstone because it's quite windy. So we're heading across the moor now towards Stanton Moor's Trig Pillar, Moor Plantations, and then we're going to head on to Nine Ladies. We're just going to deviate up to Moor Plantations Trig Point and bag this one. Even though we've bagged it before, you got to bag them all, haven't you? So why not? Double bag of this one. It's an Ethel and a Trig. Stanton Moor Ethel, Moor Plantations Trig Point. Very, very well kept trig point as well. I believe Alex, the trig restorer, has been recently and given it a coat of paint. You can see there's a bit of mud on it from people climbing it, but that's always going to happen. A good bout of rain will wash it off as well, so we're not too bothered about that. Well, I'm certainly not too bothered about that. If I were agile enough to get up on top of it, I probably would as well, so I can't whinge too much, can I? That's the trig bagged, and just bear that in mind. That's one of the things that we're going to talk about today, but also things like this. That's upside down from where I am, that one, but you can still see a little bit of engravement there. We're coming up on the Nine Ladies Stone Circle now, which is going to be the focal point for today's video. Not necessarily the stone circle itself, but the tale behind it, which I'm sure most of you know. It's been told 1,000 times on much better videos than this one, and by much more compelling storytellers than myself. But for the sake of this video, and to put into context what I'm talking about the leave no trace factor, I'm gonna give you a small recap of the tale. When we get down there, let's get down to it first. Just coming into sight now, Nine Ladies Stone Circle, and what a beautiful stone circle this really is. In the middle of this lovely moor, just a perfect spot that this stone circle were built. Well, built if you don't believe the story anyway. Let's just get a little closer and I'll tell you. And the story of the Nine Ladies comes from an ancient folk story local to these parts, that these 9 stones were once women who danced on the Sabbath, and as a punishment they were turned to stone. And this here's the King's Stone. This is said to be the fiddler that played the tune that the 9 ladies danced to. Let's turn his attention to this phrase, leave no trace. So what does leave no trace mean? So in terms of the modern day, in terms of while we're camping, while we're hiking, while we're outing, all this lovely green space, leave no trace, is take all your rubbish with you, don't leave any behind, don't damage the landscape, there's no need to cut trees down, don't leave scorch marks on the earth from fires, leave it as you found it, so to speak. There's quite a good saying, take only pictures and leave only footprints, and that really epitomises what leave no trace means. But and I'm a massive advocate for that. I'm not shying away from that. You know, I think it's our responsibility to do that, and I would like to think that a lot of the YouTubers that I watch and have seen all really push that message home. So anyone who is researching it and looking to getting into things for themselves, that message is really hammered home, and it's such an important one, because we need to preserve what we've got. However, I know I'm moving through this video quite quickly, but let's now flip to a world where no one had left any trace. This Kingstone wasn't here. This stone circle wasn't here. We won't get that fantastic story. We won't get the landmarks that we come and visit, the trig points the Ordnance Survey put in. We'd have struggled for maps, firstly and foremostly, but there won't be the trig bagging challenges. There won't be the 88 Peak District challenge that so many people are on, and it gives people reason to get out there. This is another example. This is a modern day version of leaving a trace. We are this magnificent story and the information behind Stanton Moor and the Nine Ladies and the history of the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, that this moor is absolutely packed with, won't be easily accessible to people. You know, if you just come for a walk and come along and discovered that, you think, what the hell is it? You know, where am I? What is it? Look at this, the Earl Grey Tower, possibly the biggest trace that has been left on the whole of Stanton Moor. The guy who this is built to commemorate is up there in terms of British democracy, is up there with things like the Magna Carta. Would we remember him without stuff like this and without the history being preserved? The graffiti that we saw near the trig point, the C, the heart and the S, and the name, I forget the name that was carved. Nicola, I think it was Nicola. Who are they? What have they done? And I suppose that's like a historical kind of graffiti. The cave paintings that, you know, give us a doorway into the ancient civilizations, the stone circles, the ring cairns, the burial mounds that put us in touch with the history of our species. And I know that's not what the modern day version of the leave no trace means. It really is not. But it's always bothered me that the statement leave no trace is not all too applicable throughout history, because without leaving a trace we wouldn't have fantastic buildings like this, we wouldn't have the trig points, and we wouldn't have half of the history and memories that we've got. Anyway, let's flip to a more modern day setting and talk about the thing that really got me thinking about this, and it's the journal that's been left up at Pat's place up on Ringinglow Moor. Is that okay, or is it not? I don't know. I don't know where my opinion lies on that. We've left a bit of plastic and a book out in the wilderness, but it's responsibly managed, and it's given us a journal and creating a history of people who've been there. How is it any different to, you know, the stone circle that we've just seen? Someone finds that in 200 years time still perfectly preserved in that plastic wallet that it's in. You know, YouTube's been deleted, we've lost all history, and what's preserved is a little book signed by a lot of people who've visited such a wonderful place upon the moors above Ringinglow, Why is that any different to what we've just seen? But it's a bit of plastic, it's a, you know, a book of paper, some pens that have been left out in wilderness on purpose. And is that good? If, for example, if it were a crisp packet and a pen that had run out and you just lobbed it on the floor, not acceptable. So I think it's a strange one, and I can appreciate. So some of the previous videos that I've seen on the journal, certainly the one I did, provoked some very interesting conversation, people with differing opinions, and I think differing opinion is fine. You know, I really do. And I also think the ability to voice those differing opinions is very important. The Glorious Peak District group that I help run with a group of my friends, I consider them friends now, I didn't particularly know them before, but we run a very open group, and you know, any content is welcome, any relevant content, any outdoors content, any, if it be a YouTube video, podcast, pictures, even just chat, even just text, it's all welcome. It's on Facebook. It's called the Glorious Peak District Trig, Ethel and Hill Bagging. Anyone's welcome to come and join. If you do join and you've seen this video, give us a little shout out, put a little post on, and it'd be interesting to hear everyone's opinion about the Leave No Trace, about what we think, you know, what about what you think personally about what I've discussed here. I can't imagine there's any of us who don't think that Leave No Trace in its basic form, pick up your rubbish, you know, don't burn earth, don't, you know, lob litter, don't damage fences and trees and walls and stuff like that. I don't think there'll be many of us that disagree that that's just the norm now. But on some of the other points, you know, I can accept that maybe I'm not right about everything. Maybe we shouldn't have left any trace whatsoever. Maybe the Ordnance Survey should have done what it did and took the trig points away. You know, maybe we shouldn't be putting the boards up, you know, just leave them be, let people research it. We've got the internet, let people research them themselves. So it'll be interesting to have a bit of a discussion about it anyway, and I hope it does provoke some good conversation. Look at all these markings on corkstone. I don't have any rubbish bag to be able to take them home, and I'm certainly not picking them up, but there you go. That is what Leave No Trace is about. That is pathetic. Poor. And that's what we mean. Leave no trace, leave no litter, leave no crap. Thanks for watching. I know it's been quite a monotonous rant, and obviously a lot of just me on camera talking to the screen, but thanks for persevering out. You found it ever so slightly interesting, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.